going to talk about Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka, man. For anybody who's been living under a rock, or I guess people who don't follow sports, because there's a lot of people who just don't follow sports. But Ime Udoka, head coach of the Boston Celtics, he was last week suspended by the Boston Celtics for an entire year because it was discovered that he violated a team policy which prohibits relationships between staff in the organization. So it was found out that he was carrying on a consensual relationship with a female person on the Celtic staff. And the violation was so egregious that he was suspended for an entire year. And so there's all kinds of fallout from this. Um, you know, um, there were people like Stephen A. Smith were commenting as to why this was made public in the first place. Nobody had ever heard of anything like this, where a coach was being fired for something that was consensual. So this was just kind of new to a lot of people, myself included. Like I've heard it all, domestic violence, sexual assault, all of that good stuff, right? Arrested for this, DUI, drug use. Yeah, I've never heard of somebody being fired for something that was actually consensual. It might not look good publicly, and image wise, it's a problem. PR wise, HR wise, it's an issue. But in terms of it being something that's grounds for dismissal, it kind of caught people off guard. And in also because it was made public that this is the reason why. And so, he's been dismissed for a year, and he's not fired though. His stance with the team is going to be reviewed once that year suspension has been served. But I think he's done. I don't think he's going to be the coach of the team moving forward. And if you've been doing any sort of uh, ancillary investigating on this, the alleged individual that he was supposed to have been in a relationship with, um, that is serious enough that it might shed light on why he's being let go in this way. Because it's alleged and not verified, I didn't want to go there on this video because I don't like that form of reckless speculation. But you can definitely do your own Google search it up on whatever means by which you look for news, and you can see who it's alleged that he was in this relationship with. But there's a whole lot of fallout, man, and Udoka's, now out of there for the year, and his fiance is actress Nia Long, so that's a whole nother angle to this. And there are all of these, outlying aspects of the conversation, but this is a big thing going on. So, the team has had to answer questions. Today was NBA Media Day. What's today? Today is the 27th of September. So today was NBA Media Day, and the players had to answer all of these awkward questions about the dismissal and about the suspension. And so it's just a lot of weird stuff going on. Social media troll world was trying to figure out who the woman is. And so there were a whole lot of women who had nothing to do with the situation being implicated. And so, it's a crazy story, but, it's sad because Ime Udoka led the Celtics to the finals last year. And by all appearances, he was a guy who was a pretty good coach, came from the Popovich tree. And now we got this going on. So a lot of crazy stuff. I don't know if you had any initial thoughts on the suspension or any aspect of it, any sort of part about it.
Yeah, I was in the ballpark of what the hell is this when I first heard the news. Consensual relationship suspended for a year seems pretty steep, but it's team rules. It's team rules. But it's like, so he's the first person in Celtics history to do that, and everybody knew it. So that was weird. So once the speculations and stuff started to come out, because Matt Barnes had an initial reaction to this, and he was weighing in and basically saying the stuff that I'm saying, like, this is commonplace in NBA areas where people sleeping with the trainers, sleeping with the dancers, sleeping with anybody within the organization. And he said that this is so commonplace, so why in the hell would he get suspended for a whole year? The next day, he said that oh, I didn't know how deep it was, so I'm retracting what I said yesterday because this this deeper than rap, and I didn't know all that was going on. So there's all kinds of accusations. The story isn't really clear yet. Still, I'm hearing all kinds of stuff that he was obsessed with the person, and the affair ended, and he didn't want it to end. He's sending extra messages that's damning. So there was all kinds of stuff that was floating around on this situation. So um I think where there's smoke, there's fire with some of this stuff that's floating around on the internet. And I think that the reason that he caught the year was because this isn't your typical in-house consensual relationship that he had, or or he crossed the line somewhere after the consensuality ended. And so either way, he's not looking good in this when it comes
Yeah.
to the suspension part, because a lot of people was willing to give him a pass, myself included. I'm like, bro, he's an ex NBA player who is the head coach of the Boston Celtics. He gonna smash off on something on that staff. I'm not condoning cheating, family. All right, but I'm calling a spade, you know.
Sure.
And so high level athletes, high level entertainers, they got plenty of options. And I bet most of them exercise them. So for him to
Yeah.
exercise it and then get suspended for it was a little questionable for me. Um, the Nia Long aspect, I did not know he was engaged to her. Um, I didn't know that was going down. I love me some Nia Long. Um, I'm sad that she's got to get dragged into this. This is kind of embarrassing for her. She's one of those celebrities who stay out of the way. Her name is never coming up in no filth, trash, or nothing her entire career. And so for her to get dragged into this from this, it's kind of unfortunate. So I don't know how you felt about this initially, but those were my initial thoughts.
Yeah, Nia Long, man, she is one of my favorites for sure.
Yeah,
So,
same here.
um, yeah, I concur with everything you said. It just seemed I had never heard anything like that before. That it's a consensual relationship, but the whole thing was odd. And like I watched the press conference. So the owner of the Celtics and the guy who used to be the head coach and they promoted him to president, Brad Stevens, they talked to the media for 30 minutes or something like that. And basically, it was 30 minutes of nothing. They got into nothing specific. They answered no specific questions whatsoever. So no one knows anything. There is such a clandestine nature to this that there has to be something deeper going on that we just don't know about as of yet. Um, and again, you can kind of look and see what is being speculated in regards to that. Eventually, the truth will come out. But for me, um, I'm gonna go galaxy brain on this real quick. I'm gonna go kind of big picture galaxy brain
Hmm.
because one of the ancillary conversations that comes out of this is commentary on men in positions of power and how men are always stepping out and cheating and all of that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the angle that I kind of took this from. Kind of chose to go Galaxy Brand a little bit. So when it comes to like the patriarchy, in my opinion,
Hmm.
has has both benefited and worked to the detriment of both men and women in different ways. So for men, it's benefited. The patriarchy has benefited men because men have always historically had access to opportunities more than women, and so that has persisted into modern day history. In today's society, most of these prominent positions in most industries are seats that are filled mostly by men because historically the patriarchy afforded men those seats first. And we are seeing strides being made to sort of shift the tides on that and make things
Hmm.
more equitable, to have more women in some of those seats of authority and power. But it's still, well, not probably, it is the vast majority of those seats are still being occupied by men. And you can go down the list: professional head coaches of professional sports teams, owners of businesses, um, owners of professional sports franchises, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, presidents, VPs of major corporations, and all of this kind of stuff. The vast majority of these seats are still being occupied by men. So that's the main regard in which the patriarchy has benefited men. However, it has worked to the detriment of men because men have to be able to comply with the rules of hypergamy, which states that your value and your worth is directly tethered to your resources and your finances. So if the man who has more money and resources than you is perceived to be of greater value than you, even though that guy can be a piece of shit, the rules of the patriarchy dictate that he has more money and resources than you, therefore he's a more valuable person inherently than you. So that's one way that the patriarchy has worked to the detriment of men. And the patriarchy has worked for women because women get to benefit off of some of the social aspects of the patriarchy. Women don't have to work to acquire relationships; they can just receive men's attention. Women can get sort of a lot of the things that they want in life based upon their physical appearance. So it stands to reason that if you can work on and maximize that, a wealth of opportunity can be provided to you, because that's the lane that the patriarchy has afforded women that it hasn't afforded for men. But it also works to the detriment of women because they're basically valued based upon their physical attractiveness, their sexuality and their sex appeal, their vaginas and their appearance. So that's not any good either, right? So my point is, it's worked for both men and women in different ways. And it's also been to the detriment of men and women in different ways. Now, I bring the patriarchy up because I just want to say that I am looking forward to more women becoming head coaches in the NBA. And I'm looking forward to more women maintaining some of these seats of power throughout various industries in our modern society, because then we will really get to pierce the veil and see whether it is inherent in a man's nature to do this type of behavior, or whether it's inherent in a person who holds a position of power. And I don't think that we are informed enough on the answer to that, because the vast majority of these positions of power are being occupied by men. So the data in this regard is being skewed, if any of that makes sense. So I'm kind of looking at this and I'm saying, man, Ime Udoka, like another one bites the dust. But what if we get more and more of these women who become head coaches, who are running stuff, and they're in position to exploit these types of dynamics to their benefit? Will we see some of that stuff become more equitable, to the point that we will have less of these policies which prohibit this type of behavior, and less of these instances of seeing people get fired for these types of things? Because the crux of my position is, I hate to see somebody be forfeited from the opportunity to um, um, be able to reap the benefits of a position that they work to earn. And Ime Udoka worked to earn his spot as an NBA head coach. He was a player for a long time. He was an assistant coach for a long time, and he worked his way up to become a head coach. And now that's been stripped away from him because he made an ill-advised, albeit, but nevertheless, personal decision to do something in his personal life. And that rubs me the wrong way. But I understand
Consensually.
consent, right? So, but that rubs me the wrong way, because like, it was a personal choice and it was a consensual matter, but now he's forfeited his right to continue to be viable in something that he worked to earn. And I think that the crumbling of the patriarchy is the only way that we will see that shift, so that less of these things will actually be a thing. And it's in the entertainment space too. Like, I don't like it when some of these people get canceled because they expressed a disagreeable point of view, or they got caught stepping out on their spouses or their significant others. And now there's all of this blowback, losing all of these sponsorships, these endorsement deals, really having their careers compromised because of a personal decision they made, when logically, to me, that should be independent on whether they should be able to continue to retain a spot in something that they worked to earn, because they worked at that and they acquired it because they worked hard and they, strapped themselves up and they got to where they got to, because of the talent that they have and the work that they put in. So, I don't think that the patriarchy is all bad. I never have. I think that thus far it has been sustainable for the most part for a reason. But this is one of those things where I think it has had an unintended consequence in a negative way, because until we start seeing more women being put in positions of power, there's still going to continue to be this uniform way that we look at ill-advised personal decisions and how that relates to a person's career. And I want to see that go away, because I want to see people continue to be viable in something that they work to earn, regardless of whether they made an ill-advised personal decision. Um, and the only reason why the Boston Celtics had that rule in place, is because there's probably precedent for it. And that precedent was probably established, uh, I would imagine, by men who have been in positions of power historically. And so maybe a lot of that will go away when there are more women in positions of power. But until then, I feel like people are going to continue to get fired and canceled for stuff that I don't think they should get fired and canceled for. So that was pretty much how I looked at this. I know that that's kind of a worldview. I know that that's kind of a big picture type angle or way to look at it. But that was honestly the first thing that came to mind, because what does him cheating on his wife have to do with his ability to coach the team? Um, Especially if it was consensual. Now, again, there's other details that'll probably become public, which will, sort of provide clarity as to why this was so bad in terms of who this individual is and what that all means. But in a vacuum, I don't think consensual relationships should lead to anyone being fired from something. I kind of feel the same way that I feel about like the whole canceling thing. But there are bigger societal reasons for why these sorts of things happen. And this is what you get as a result. And so I feel bad for him. Obviously, I feel bad for his family and the organization, because I don't like the Celtics, but I also don't hate them. So it's just one of those things where it just kind of sucks for all parties involved. But um, until things become more equitable in that regard, I think people are going to continue to suffer these types of consequences for those types of choices.
That's fair. I personally, there's definitely some nuance to the stuff that you were saying. Um, I've known women in positions of power who had options and they exercised on them, but the guys don't talk. So they not, oh yeah,
Yeah.
the guys aren't really hollering me too's out here. Guys get their cookies and go home. And so they're not really gonna blow up the spot. Like side dudes, how many side dudes inboxing the main guy like, hey bro, I'm sliding on this, man. You might want to check your female, bro. You know. And so, but females will do that all day. So even if if we put women in more positions of power, and they sliding at the office, ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Unless you trying to slide on females, and then the female gonna out her and me too'd me. You know what I'm saying? But nah, bro. Like dudes keep it solid because they just want their cookies, and they'll take it however they can get it, bro. And so,
But we don't know that the reason why this fallout happened in the way that it did was because of hearsay. Like we don't know that yet. It could have been because of that, but we don't exactly
no,
know.
no,
Like
that's
how did it
totally.
even get found out?
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, the details will definitely leak. There's
Yeah.
definitely going to be some details around this, but office, workplace stuff, men in positions of power, it is what it is. With that, it's gonna happen. Women choose up so hard,
Mm-hmm.
it's ridiculous. And there's been times where I was in one role at the job, getting attention, but then I got another role at the job that's a little bit better, and the attention from same type of women changed. It just happens that way. They can't help it. It's like all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like, for like a guy, one thing about man, or at least me, man, I speak for myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm more of a buttocks man. You know what I'm saying? So if she's got a big old booty, I'm like, oh, I'm checking twice. Hey, now what's going on there? You know what I'm saying? And like for me, being in the positions of power that I done had at certain jobs, I saw how their perception of me changed. Like, damn, he got a raise. Look at him. Oh shit, he got a raise. And it's like, oh, I'm still the same guy. Like, but now I just got power. But this speaks to our first conversation. Men have to be out here achieving and accomplishing and getting stuff done. If you're out here achieving, accomplishing, and getting stuff done, the vagina gets thrown at you. I mean, it's now it's still on you to go catch that thing and make it happen. But your options definitely increase when you're out here in the real world achieving. And this ties to the conversation that we had last time when I was saying that that men that have their own. I got my own lawn service. I'm contracted out at this hotel. I'm contracted out at that apartment complex. I'm contracted out over here. This guy is making moves. And so women, even though they don't want some guy out there personally pushing the lawnmower, he's a worker. She don't want that. She wants a boss. She wants somebody who's running something, who has a position of power. So what does the vaginas do? They open right on up and get all lubricated just because this guy is actually out here achieving and accomplishing. But if your achievements is the latest badge that you've got because you playing Call of Duty. Hey, look, babe. I slaughtered. I got 10 kill shots. I unlocked a new badge. And she's looking at it like, oh my God, I'm with a lame. And at that same time, she'll go to work and flirt with her supervisor because he's doing something. Now, granted, there's more hypergamous levels than the supervisor at her job, but I'm just sticking with the theme of men in position of power. Uh, Me personally, I, you know what I'm saying, at one of my previous jobs, you know what I'm saying, I slid on, you know what I'm saying, somebody that was in a position of power. I ain't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? My homeboy that was, you know what I'm saying, at the club with me that night, he the only person that knew. But that was it. And she kept it solid. I kept it solid. Everything was solid. And it was what it was. I didn't do it because she had a position of power. I just did it because it was what it was. And so I really personally don't get off on positions of power outside of like Nia Long and stuff like that. I guess status does it for me. I don't know what that is, but it's still not like a high thing. It's kind of like a celebrity crush. Everybody's got celebrity crushes.
I don't think
So
men are. I don't think men are not programmed to care about that. It's
yeah,
different,
yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm saying, like, as far as the scenario that you were pointing out, like, if
right?
because granted there will be more. If there's more women, there's going to be more cases. But
Well,
I was
see,
Mhm.
what I'm talking about specifically is the advent of mechanisms that are put in place that penalize people for that in such a way that you end up no longer in possession of your career. That's why I'm suggesting that portion of it. Not necessarily about who's going to do what to out it or talk about it, but more so if there is more equitability, I feel as though there will be more instances over time of people not caring about it as much because it's really at that point it'll really be like, oh, okay, well, everybody's doing it, so who cares? So now in the future we won't see people getting fired or canceled for that type of behavior. It'll just be, hey, whatever they got to deal with in their personal life, they're gonna have to deal with that, but they still have their job or their career. Does that make
uh,
sense? That's the
yeah,
angle that I'm coming at it from.
I got you. And but yeah, I got you. And I'm just saying, like, as far as the whole patriarchal angle and stuff. Like, I mean, I guess that could
Well,
be a thing, but
I only bring up the patriarchy specifically because we don't have a sample size to suggest that that's not correct. Like, we can speculate all day, but the reality is there's nothing but men in these positions of power. So, like, there's no way to really tell for sure that that doesn't have anything to do with it, which is why I pointed it out. I'm not saying that that's definitely for sure the crux of it, but I also don't definitely know for sure that it's not. And the reason why I don't know that it's not is because it's only men who are doing it. But I don't believe that it's in a man's nature inherently to do it. I personally think that it's in a human being's nature to potentially exercise whatever options they have available.
yeah,
So that's where I'm coming at it from. It's not really a man or a woman thing. It's a
right.
position of power thing. It's a person who has options thing. But it just so happens that the majority of the people who have the options are guys because of the way that the whole thing's been set up. So that's why I brought that up.
I got you. And but yeah, that's the thing. But all I'm saying is that for this whole scenario, it's just a man in a position of power. This is status quo to me. Um, it happens all over the place, and people cheat every day, bro.
Yeah.
When I was a cab driver, and I'm in random parking lots waiting for the next ride. I'll see two cars pull up next to each other, in an empty parking lot, basically, or in the back of the parking lot. And they pull up next to each other, and the guy gets out, the woman gets out, and they hug, they talk for a little bit, they all get in his car, and then they go drive off. And I'm like, I wonder what that's about. Always after work too. Like after work, sometimes like during lunch, you know, then the car come back, you know what I'm saying? They'll say bye to each other. She gets in her car, he gets back in his, and they drive off. And I was like, yeah, they just linked right there. You know what I'm saying? They just linked right there. Black, white, I seen it all. Old, um, generally like, you know, people that look like they got families.
Yeah.
And but I saw that so often. I'm taking guys from their house. I'm taking guys from their house, and I'm taking them to a motel or a hotel where there's back page women waiting for him when he gets there. And I'm sitting in the parking lot waiting, you know what I'm saying, so I can catch that ride to take him back to his family. So people do this all day long. I don't condone it. It's just that people can't keep it in the pants. And so this situation here, highly disappointed that he did this to Nia Long, bro. Like you like for like I'm pretty sure, you know what I'm saying, I'm not the only dude out there that was a fan of what he was doing to with the Celtics, and a fan of how he was, you know what I'm saying, up and coming and all that stuff, and knew that he was dealing with Nia Long. Is like, this guy's winning. And for
Yeah,
him,
they've been together for a long time. I actually thought that they were married. They've been together so long that I thought that they were married. I was misunderstanding that. Turns out that they're not actually married because I've been on about them. And so they've been, that's how long they've been together that I thought that they were already married and they're
yeah, and,
not.
and so for him to pull this on her like that, you know what I'm saying? I'm one of the people that's like, now, bro, I don't know how much of a fan I can be of you right now, bro, because you did that to one of my favorites out there. Because again,
Yeah.
man, she just stays out of the way. I don't know how she is behind closed doors, but at least for everything that I've seen from a man, she's A1, and she's a cool person. And to
Yeah.
do that to Miss Long like that, man, yeah, I'm disappointed in bro on that regard.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is a messy situation. The details will come out on this. I'm sure we'll cover that. But yeah, man, this is sad stuff, man. At first I felt like he was being targeted, But once I heard all of this riffraff that it could be, um, nah, bro. I think he was just flying too close to the sun,
Yeah,
and he couldn't keep it in the pants.
yeah. It's looking like he was just a sloppy individual. That's what
Yeah,
it's looking like.
that's what it's
It's
looking
looking
like.
like he was real sloppy, and there's no defense for that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we can't sort of analyze it from a more deeper perspective for content
Oh
purposes.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Um, but yeah, she is a classic, so he did this to a classic for sure. And that's unfortunate. But yeah, we'll definitely see what details come of this. It's too bad. I always hate to see, even though I'm not necessarily defending his actions, but what I do find very disappointing is he worked so hard to get to that position, and now it's just gone like that because of a personal matter. Granted, yes, it was a team policy. He broke team rules, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, does this really, it just sucks that this means that just like that, the whole thing is over for something that was consensual, albeit breaking rules, but consensual nevertheless. And so that's what I don't like seeing as well. Like, sucks for the personal aspect of it with his family and, Nia Long, because she is a favorite. But like, bro, you worked this hard and now it's just over. And I just don't like seeing people. If he was a trust fund person or somebody who didn't work to get there and he just sort of fell into opportunity, I could care less. But I just hate to see hardworking people have to forfeit their opportunity in any capacity for something that truly isn't egregious, like truly egregious, like murder, rape, assaulting somebody, stuff like that. And this to me doesn't, well, I guess the other person's significant other would probably disagree with me. But from where I stand, I don't really perceive it to be so egregious, but I get it. Based on the speculation, I get it. It just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah, Nia, I'm still here. And if he ain't treating you right, because it don't seem like he is, just go ahead and inbox me. It's Dogon_SS. I'm on Instagram. Um, I'll treat you right and give you that ring that you need. Because apparently he don't want to marry you, but I'll hold you down. So I just had to let you know that, Nia. You know what I'm
Uh, yeah, we'll go ahead. I think that's a good place to stop.
saying?
Uh, I think that's a good place to stop. Nia Long is one of the ones too. Like, she's gotten older, but she's just still looks so good.
Just
It's
wine,
crazy.
bro. Just
Yeah, it's
wine.
crazy.
Yes, love it.
It's crazy. But yeah, on that note, man, we'll go ahead and close out. That sucks, man. I hope that all parties come out of that situation as unscathed as can be. But it does look ugly, and there is going to be significant collateral damage, even more so than there already is. But in terms of tonight's Conscious Approach video, we are going to go ahead and close it out. As always, appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you watched it live, certainly appreciated you for tuning in. And if you are watching this as its own standalone video upload, also appreciate you support the platform as we continue to keep things rocking and rolling. Once again, my name is JV Wins, and my buddy over there, Dogon SS. We are active, live, and in effect every Tuesday. So please tune in. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and please leave a comment. We do engage. If you're watching this video on the Meta page, like the page, follow the page, share the video, comment on the video there as well. Certainly appreciate it. You can follow me on Instagram at JV Wins, and you can follow Conscious Approach on Instagram as well at Conapproach, CONAPPROACH. Thinking about starting a TikTok for the page. I got to emotionally wrap my head around that because I kind of don't like TikTok. But it is a video platform, and so it probably would be beneficial for us to have a presence there. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, check out the website, constantapproach.com. All content also exists there as well. As always, appreciate you supporting logical content. And I also personally appreciate you. So, and also thanks to everybody who's been subscribing over the course of the last couple of weeks. We have some momentum, so we just trying to keep that up. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir. And the name is Dogon SS. All right. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS. I'm talking to you, Neil Long. All right. Also, you can find me on YouTube at Dogon SS. All right. Yeah, man. Like JV says, man, support that logical content. We really appreciate you guys that have already hit the sub. If you guys do be lurking around and hang around and haven't hit it yet, go ahead and do that. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, we do this every Tuesday, man. So we really appreciate you guys for watching, and appreciate you guys for watching future content. You know what I'm saying? Hit that bell for them notifications, though. You did. All right. And like I always say every week, you know what I'm saying? Don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it player. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you stay on your pivot. Don't let nobody get you off it, man. Keep it even kill. You know what I mean? And these topics that we talked about this week, very important, of just staying solid and having a foundation about yourself, and not letting any of those outside influences sway you one way or the other. That voice inside of you that knows the right thing to do. Everybody has a different voice, and every voice is saying something different, but each one of those voices is telling us to do the right thing. So stay locked in, keep it even kill, man. Don't be too high, too low, man. And until next time, fam. You did.
Yeah, so we are going to sign off on this video. We'll holler at y'all next week. Please, for all of our videos, leave those comments, man. I do pay attention. I do engage. I do reply. And I do appreciate constructive feedback. So until then, until the next video, until the next broadcast, we are signing off. We'll see you later. Peace.
Skirt, skirt. Come on, Mr. Rhino.